quickly after that.
Green to Root, who's tied up by this one, but defends successfully to mid-wicket. Target, of course, 388 overall, so it's a long way off as it stands right now. Second new ball due in 26 overs from here. So you talked already about some of the technicalities around the wet and how difficult it makes it to reverse. So interesting to see if there's anything here for Green. He bowls to Root. That's full and on-driven. Can't beat Boland. 239 runs away. Green again. And Root stays from the crease and plays it late. And brilliant fielding by Lyon away to his left at backward point. Makes the save and keeps Root grounded.
Was like a goalkeeper there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Saving one from the top corner.
Root seems to be in more command of his shot square of the wicket, more like we're used to seeing with Joe Root in England.
He's just waiting for any width, isn't he, where he can just play late and drop the bat on.
Green gives him a bouncer, which he pulls, went thump into the ground first, and there's two out behind square, Harris being one of them who does the fielding and keeps it to 1. And that's the 150 up for England. SEN Test Cricket for Host Plus, that's a plus. And the Independent Reserve scoreboard choose Independent Reserve for Crypto. The captain and vice-captain. They are the major obstacles for Australia right now. Left-hander back on strike. And that pull shot of Ben Stokes, meaning that the Australians are reinforcing on the leg side, pushing a man about 85 to 90% of the way back at square leg, as well as the fine leg. Around the wicket, Green. There's a leg slip as well, but he bowled just short of a length outside, off stump, and punched to Labuschagne in the covers. Can't beat the field. End of the over. It's 3 for 150 for Host Plus, the industry super fund for all Australians. Current partnership is 54 now between these two.
Ben Stokes has done most of the heavy lifting in that. He's still prepared to play the big shot, isn't he? Whereas Root's just, I guess, being pretty tight, waiting for a little bit of width.
Just further to that 17 score, Al says that thanks to the son of the umpire for verifying the story. Legend has it the batsman walked the last 8 or 9 runs before fielders thought to call out lost ball. Plaque on the wall at Banyule Cricket Club in the Heidelberg League. Scott Boland, when you need a wicket. 3 overs, none for 5 in his first spell, and then this morning 6 overs, 1 for 3 in the third spell. 3 overs, none for 5. That all adds up to 12 overs, 5 maidens, 1 for 13. Mike Catherine's also joined us in the comm box at the SCG next to Colo, as I think Flem's going to be with us as well shortly. Our experts for Anaconda. Play more, pay less with Anaconda's 10% price beat guaranteed. Afternoon to you, Athos.
Good afternoon, Hutto, and to all our listeners. Nice partnership between captain and vice-captain going along well.
It's been good, hasn't it? They just seem to have got the right mix of aggression and control defensively. Just watch this ball from Boland, who's pitching it up to Root. He played primarily from the crease, just leaning forward to defend.
Yeah, I mean, the pitch seems fine, doesn't it? There's no great devil in it. It seems to have lost a little bit of life. There's a hint of reverse swing for Australia's seamers, but the wet outfield after the rain won't help that cause. And these two have played really nicely together since lunch.
Brought up their 50 partnership and looking to build on that now and occupy the crease primarily. Boland to Root again. The ball in the usual areas. Damien Fleming from Scott Boland making Root play just on or outside off stump.
Hutto, Athers, listeners, different take. A bit annoying, this partnership.
Yes.
Seriously. Throw us a bone here, one of these two.
It's been a tough summer for Australia, hasn't it, really?
I mean, God, you just sometimes think, when's our next wicket coming? It's still just doing a little bit in the air, but if it hadn't rained, I think that'd be quite extreme, this reverse swing.
Boland to Root, again, challenging him. A little bit of seam movement into the right-hander. He defends.
He's got a couple of short mid-wickets, so the field is mid-on. 2 short mid-wickets and a fine leg with just a slip and a fine gully. So the plan here for Boland is clearly to bowl quite straight at Joe Root. Tight, middle and off line, running back into the pads and the stumps.
Boland has picked him up the last 2 innings for England. Again, he bowls it off stump and met with a full face though and a little bit more power in the defensive shot from Root, but Boland did his own fielding. That's his best bit of fielding for the day, Flem, I think.
Bit more. There's a bit more motivation when it's off your own bowling.
There is.
Hutto. Yeah, brilliant batting here, Stokes and Root. And you can just tell that there's been less balls that have hit gloves or ribs as the game has progressed.
Oh, Root walks away at the very last moment. Boland was about to deliver. Who was at fault this time? Can't see anything immediately. Wasn't you, Athers, was it? With delaying tactics from up there? So Boland has to go all the way back to the top of the mark and try again. And Root again, happy to wait for the ball. Good length. He got fully front on, head right over the ball, keeping it out.
It's good bowling. I mentioned the field, what the plan is. It's very obvious what the captain is asking Scott Boland to do, but he is right on the money here at the start of a new spell, giving Root no room outside the off stump, making him play, trying to challenge the knee roll.
Last ball, relentless bowling from Boland. Oh, he beats the outside edge. And there was nothing in that. It's just moved the line a fraction further outside the stumps. Root played, he missed, end of the over. Great cricket. For Host Plus, that's a plus.
Sport brings inspiration.
This is a famous victory, a magnificent performance.
Heartbreak.
It's a draw, and we're back again next week.
And jubilation.
That winning feeling returns to Australian cricket.
Across every town and city, sport is the glue of our local community. And SEN is there with you. Listen anywhere, anytime on the SEN app. The latest news articles, podcasts, live sport, and more. Download the SEN app today.
Great struggle this. Sounds like another bowling change is about to take place. Colo, you can add to that discussion on runs off a single ball as Lyon prepares to come on and bowl.
Yes, the thumper's out in the middle too, so a bit of a delay. It's happened 4 times where there's been 8 runs scored off a ball in Test cricket. The most recent of those was Andrew Simons at the Gabba in 2008, Ian O'Brien off his bowling. He had him drop the ball before as well, actually. The first was 28-29 at the MCG when Patsy Hendren was able to get 8. So this is where it's an all-run 4 followed by 4 overthrows. That's how you configure it. 1981, the MCG again, John Wright via a wayward throw from Rod Marsh. And in 2004, Brian Lara had an 8 via the helmet. Mark Boucher, after 3, threw it, hit the helmet, and they got 8 for that.
How have you found those out? Where have you hunted for that stuff?
It exists on the dark web. No, someone who looked it up before me, put it that way.
Well done, Colo.
Yes, well done indeed. All the numbers for Robot Building Supplies. Second session for Dial before you dig. Nathan Lyon again to resume his battle with Stokes, and he tosses the first one up, inviting Stokes to drive, which he did, but only in a very tempered fashion and into the ground.
Yeah, big spell here for Nathan Lyon. Aussies need a wicket.
Come on, Nate. Open him up, Nate.
Aussie's trying to get vocal. Slip, and manning close on the offside as Stokes presses forward in defence. Head over the ball again.
Come on, boys. Come on, boys.
Let's see how long he takes to set up for that quicker delivery, which he dismissed Stokes with in the first innings.
Bowls, and that kind of went straight, and certainly didn't turn much, but didn't really threaten the stumps.
No, and you can see that there was a bit of drop on that one. So when he's bowling in the high 80s, it's his stock delivery. But that quicker ball's got up to 100 kilometres today.
He has 1 for 11. He's bowling again, and it's driven confidently on the bump into Labuschagne in close, who involuntarily does the fielding.
Guys, come on, lads.
That was the one that got Milan out earlier. That quicker ball, he completely deceived him with it.
It was a beautiful piece of bowling, wasn't it? Milan was stuck back and could do nothing. Lyon again drops this short, and it's defended back to the bowler by Stokes.
And the length has to be perfect. If it's half volley like Stokes, he can get forward and blunt that. But it's when they go back to a short of a length one and it skids on, trouble.
So is Stokes prepared to play forward, or will he go back? It's Fuller, and he defends it back. Good fielding from Lyon to tidy over a maiden. At the end of it, it's 3 for 150 on the independent reserve scoreboard. Choose independent reserve for crypto. Australia still need 7 wickets.
But it's taken English's most experienced pair to really get the Australians, frustration levels up big time. But good signs for England with Stokes with the Hobart Test. You know, he definitely hasn't reached for his side as much in this innings.
Would you take? I mean, I guess it depends on the medical advice, doesn't it? But would you play him just as a batsman?
I don't think it even gets down to medical advice. I think it just gets down to the individual. Yeah.
What do you think, Athers? Given it's a dead Test match, would you risk him or?
Once you're sure he's not going to absolutely do it more damage, he gets in the side as a black batsman for sure.
Well, he certainly does, I suppose, at the moment. Boland. New over. Root is late playing that one, but played he did. It got high on the bat, but he got it down in front of him.
To be honest, for some time, Ben Stokes has been England's second best batsman after Root. You know, we think of him as an all-rounder, and of course he is. But if you just ignored the bowling for a moment, technically and everything else about his batting, he's England's second best batsman after Root.
34 not out right now. His skipper is 23. Highest scorer Zach Crawley in this innings so far. Bowling to Root, that does get through. Strikes him on the pad, just a hint of leg side about it. Maybe a bit of height in question as well. Pat Cummins is going to consider this, given that it's Joe Root.
They've got 3 remaining. I mean, you can see leg stump. It's height has to be a problem with the amount of bounce that Bolo does get.
It's a leg by this.
I thought it was going down the leg side. I mean, it's excellent bowling from Boland. That's exactly what he's trying to do. As I said, he's got this very straight leg side field set. He wants to dart it back at the stumps and the pads, but that one just nipped back a little too much, and I think would have gone down the leg side.
They didn't review in the end for the TAC drive safely for everyone. 3 for 151. Crowd appreciating the battle here. Stokes is on strike now. And he's taking a little bit of extra time over this. There's 2 slips and a gully. Boland, as always, to the left-hander around the wicket. Stokes walks right across and lets it go because it didn't challenge the stumps.
He's just like a bowling machine, Scott Boland. You know, set at about 135 Ks on a short length, isn't it? Doesn't deviate.
Are you saying he's not human, perhaps?
He might not be. I haven't seen him bleed yet. He might have a broken rib as well. He's just taken it on.
Ball tracking, confirming your view of that last LB. Athers going down leg side. Boland to Stokes. He walks right across even further that time, Ben Stokes. He does like to mix it up, come at the batsman sometimes, particularly with Boland, I guess trying to disturb that length.
Oh, I think you've got more time with Boland, isn't it? Like the other Australians are yards quicker. So, and maybe that predictableness that I talk about, Stokes makes note of that, which at times opposition batsmen did against Glenn McGrath, mainly in one-day cricket. I was surprised they didn't do it more. But his greatest strength was sometimes his predictableness.
Boland to Stokes, who stays a little more stationary that time and defends front on. What do you think about those tactics to a bowler like Athers?
What, running down the pitch as Stokes does?
Mixing up where you are, I guess, on the crease.
Well, all I would say is it's not particularly worked, has it, this series? But I can see certainly to a bowler like Boland, and I'm thinking back to when I played, if you had very accurate bowlers who wouldn't necessarily be able to knock your head off, like Terry Alderman or something, that's something you might do, wander down the pitch to try and put him off his length, particularly a pitch-up swing bowler.
Boland to Stokes. He goes over the wicket this time, which is something he doesn't do too often against left-handers. And Stokes was ready for it and saw it off. 3 for 151 on the Independent Reserve scoreboard. Choose Independent Reserve for crypto.
Real adventures with Patrick Dangerfield and Aaron Hapgood. Everything fishing, boating and outdoors.
Our week in fishing, which culminated in 130-odd kilo bluefin tuna. We hooked up and your dad goes, I think we're on. Oh, blew my mind. I was like, what, you reckon, John? But anyway, we fought this fish for just shy of an hour. In the end, it was about 45 minutes I worked out. You did very well.
Patrick Dangerfield and Aaron Hapgood. Subscribe and listen today wherever you get your podcasts.
So after losing over an hour after lunch, due to rain, England have so far survived with Root 23 and Stokes 34. And it's 3 for 151. Nathan Lyon is going to continue. Going over the wicket to Root. Stays in the stumps and turns with the spin around the corner. You can hear our animated Australia in the field are right now, that sensing that need to get a wicket, trying to amp up the pressure. Yeah. Still 44.5 overs to negotiate. Lyon dropped it a little shorter. Turn with more confidence by Root, but straight to Stark on the 45. Stays where he is. Close in fielders on both sides of the wicket. Lyon again shorter outside the off stump, and Root lets it pass.
On that line, guys. Walk it all of a sudden. One look at something.
Lyon again, and Root got one just on middle and off. It's slightly off balance, but he played it well enough to mid-wicket. How's he trying to get the right-hander out here, Athers?
Well, Root tends to play him off the back foot because of Lyon's overspin and dip.
This is full, and he comes on the front foot and sends it on drive. Down to one.
I think Lyon is trying to mix up his pace just to keep Root thinking a little like he does to the left-handers as well, with that odd quicker ball, because on the side, you know, Lyon is not really going to beat you as a right-hander on the outside.
Back to the left-handed Stokes now. Lyon bowls down the pitch, comes Stokes and crunches a superb lofted on drive, a couple of bounces, and it slides over the rope for 4 more. Fine style, Ben Stokes, when he's attacking. It's a Foxtel 4K4. Foxtel for the love of cricket. 3 for 156 at the end of the over. Beautiful. We've played a couple of lovely shots at this, hasn't he? Both his driving and his ball shots.
Yeah, that was such a dismissive shot, really. He played that so easily. When you think of the situation, England will know that if they lose a wicket here, it makes life really difficult with a couple of injured players to come. But he just skipped down there, hit it so sweetly, over mid-on with no particular effort, and it was only 10 yards in from the boundary. Otherwise, it'd have been a 6. So it was an effortless stroke, really, from Stokes under pressure.
Partnership up to 60 now from 151 balls, and perhaps the benefit of the fact that the openers did last a bit longer being shown here for England. False start from Boland. Somebody else is holding things up. The next James has texted us, the next person who uses the stairs behind the bowler's arm should be ejected.
Just a slightly different field now to Root, more of an offside field as Boland bowls.
He's on his way in. Bowls to the England captain and appeal for caught behind, and he's out. Root has edged it and the England captain is gone, and Scott Boland, he is a test cricket weapon over and over again. He will challenge you, and even the might of Joe Root has no answer to this persistence of Scott Boland, and it's on a knife edge again.
This is superb bowling and captaincy, actually. We've mentioned how Cummins and Boland had set a very straight field to Root with 2 short mid-wickets. And just then, for that ball, they moved everybody, not everybody, but more fielders to the offside, put a second slip in, an extra man at cover. So they're just changing their line and making sure that the batsman can't settle. And immediately it brought reward as Root pushed forward and he found the outside edge. Just a feather of an outside edge, but that is excellent tactics and strategy from Australia.
Johnny Bairstow will be the new batsman. England now 4 for 156. And each time England have looked really settled through the day. Australia have been able to get a wicket, Mike, really, haven't they?
Yep, and you just keep chipping away. That's the kind of conditions that we're in. It's not easy now that the ball is 40-odd, 58 overs old. You just got to really persevere, as Boland is doing, with just a hint of reverse swing. And then along with the captain, just make sure you keep setting the batsman a new challenge every now and again. Don't let them settle. They challenge Root's knee roll, bringing it back, and then a different strategy, and the ball just fractionally going away and challenging the outside edge. So it's really disciplined bowling from a very established first-class cricketer who is used to getting hard wickets in difficult circumstances on flat pitches in Australia, and he knows how to do it in the middle of the day. So that was excellent bowling from Boland, and well done, Pat Cummins.
He just gives away nothing, doesn't he, Boland? But incredibly economical yet again. 14.1 overs, 2 for 13.
Bairstow now is a similar field, really, so they can afford to slightly attack. So those men at cover and mid-wicket come in catching. 2 slips, a fine gully, short extra cover, short mid-wicket. Bairstow, of course, with a heavily bruised or fractured or broken right thumb. We're not sure which.
Depends how he goes. 43.5 overs remaining in the day. Plenty of time for Australia to get to 4-0. Johnny Bairstow. Boland doesn't make him play outside the off stump. Relatively wide one.
But there's just a hint of movement. That one again. Going away, it's not huge swing, but it's just enough, and that's what you need as a bowler when it's the middle of the day. If it just goes, it only has to go half a bat's width, and you're in business, and that's what he's got at the moment. Just a little bit to work with.
Boland again. Bairstow lets it go. The century maker from the first innings, who was subdued to start with and then run a ball in a very entertaining innings. Can he do it again?
See how Bairstow plays Lyon, because of course he took the attack to Nathan Lyon in the first innings, and England were under the cosh then. They're under the cosh now.
It's a little different, isn't it?
Yes.
What do you think he'll do?
Well, I've no idea is the answer.
Well, at least you're honest. Scott Boland. Oh, that was on the off stump. Bairstow gets off the mark, though. He turns it around the corner. He'll think about and, in fact, come back for a second. And he goes to 2, and England to 4 for 158. Seven maidens he's bowled again in this almost 15 over spell. Boland to Bairstow with a dead batty defence.
Any extra strapping on his thumb, bottom thumb. Sometimes players can get that material that you put in hot water, and you then kind of wrap it around the thumb, and it hardens up when it sets. But I can't see that he's got any extra protection there.
Last bowl of what has been a successful over so far. Boland to Bairstow, thick inside edge, threatening that off stump again. Line, this is going to be close, and he hit the stumps for a throw from fine leg. Bairstow, I think, would have been short of his ground as they scampered back for a second. French cut down for 2. Into the over. Colo's going to jump in next.
No, not out.
It's 4 for 160.
On the SEN app, check out the SENW channel with stars of women's sport at home and abroad. Daisy Pearce, Katie Brown, Stephanie Brantz. Plus, on the SENW channel,
We cover AFLW, Rugby League, W League, netball, cricket, and track the female stars of horse racing and more.
for the latest news, interviews, and catch-up podcasts with the biggest names in women's sport, jump on the SENW channel. Download the SEN app now.
SEN Test Cricket for Host Plus, the industry super fund for all Australians. And I tell you what, if that's taken cleanly, Carey's got ample time to take off the bails. If he's right on it, right there, but the throw almost yorked him. Bairstow survives.
Had visions of who did Nathan Lyon run out? James Vince, didn't he, at the Gabba, first Test match 4 years ago. Match-turning run out, really.
Yeah, late on day one. Stokes on strike to line here. All the lights on at the SCG. He's forward in the fence line. Collects off his own bowling. Stokes is there on 38. Took a peek at WinViz before jumping on. It says 19% Australia, but that'll skyrocket if they can break this partnership.
What does it say for England?
Naught, I'm afraid. Lyon bowls and Stokes inside edge. Down towards deep backward square. Scott Boland the work to do. The ball's followed him a bit today. They had a couple. Stokes moves into the 40s. 4 for 162 the score.
It says 1%. Yeah,
1%.
Just looked. Come on, 1%.
So, well, it's on the rise. It's on the rise. It was 0 at lunch when the rain was about to hit, but the forecast looks a wee bit better than it did then. Australia require 6 wickets. Lyon wide of the crease, bowls to Stokes, pushes with hard hands out to cover. We joked, didn't we, Athy and Adelaide, that there is a moment when the television broadcast moves from runs to win to wickets to win. And I'll tell you now, the host broadcaster here has moved to wickets to win for Australia. It's all about whether Australia can get the job done. Lyon, 2 catches around the bat, bowls to Stokes, who leaves alone into the gloves of Carey. So there's a deep backward square, a long off.
Nice,
A slip, that's Smith. And a silly point, that's Marnus Labuschagne. This pair with a, most likely for England, the first time around. Stokes with a half century. Bairstow with a wonderful ton. Lyon to the crease again. To Stokes, who goes back and keeps it out. That's not been the best mode of defence for England against Lyon in this Test match. That quicker ball is not new to his repertoire, but he's bowling it so well right now.
Yeah. That's what he was trying to get Stokes to do, play back, which he did, but he jammed the bat down in time this time.
Last ball of Lyon's over, bowls to Stokes, that's flighted up. Stokes deals with it well, defending towards silly point. Labuschagne collects and flicks and all the rest of it. They ask the question, perhaps on the basis of whether the ball hit Stokes' foot before ballooning up. Alas, not to be. 4 for 162 at the end of the over on the independent reserve scoreboard. Choose independent reserve for crypto.
Gold Coast MG recognises the importance of supporting Special Forces veterans transitioning back to civilian life. They've fought for us, so now let's fight for them. Purchase a raffle ticket from $10 and you could win a brand new MG HS Essence. All proceeds help Wandering Warriors support returning veterans and their families through education, employment, respite and mentoring programs. Hurry, raffle drawn January 24. For tickets, visit mggoldcoast.com.au. Gold Coast MG and Wandering Warriors, saluting their sacrifice.
42 overs remaining. All your social feedback for Tyre Power, your trusted tyre experts. A message in here from Dan. WinViz had England 0% with 9 wickets in hand, and now it's 1%. Hutto Viz is way better. Here again from Hutto after the tea break. Here's Boland delivering to Bairstow. Ooh, tries to drive that through cover, ends up at mid-on. Draw your own conclusion.
Yeah, this similar field, 2 slips, fine gully, short extra cover. Just a hint of reverse swing for Scott Boland. So he's going to hold a line to Bairstow, try and get him coming at the ball. Bairstow is batting on off stump effectively. Boland will just move his line slightly more to the offside.
Boland into his 16th over. His figures 2 for 17. 2 slips in the gully. Bowls here to Bairstow. That's better. Leaving a line close to the off stump, but committed to the leave nice and early. It's turning into a great Ashes tale. Scott Boland, 13 wickets at 8. We were joking about Father Marriott earlier. He got very close to overtaking him for a moment there. Then he found Joe Root's outside edge, so his average goes back down again. Only Nathan Lyon and Mitchell Stark have taken more wickets in the series. They've taken 15 apiece.
Incredible.
And there's still 6 on the shelf for him today, and we know what he did at Melbourne to finish that test match in a hurry.
There's good news for him, though. He has a poor record at the Bellerive Oval.
Here is Boland delivering to Bairstow. Full and straight and defended out to cover. Asking all the right questions here, Boland. Chris Rogers had me take a look at his record with the Duke's ball. We were talking about how effective Boland might be in England. That came up on the text line as well. And he's taken 51 wickets with the Duke's ball, 52 wickets rather, with the Duke's ball at 25.8. So roughly.
In Shield cricket.
Yeah, they used the Duke's ball for 4 seasons, for half a season each between 16-17 and 19-20. So broadly the same, but I tell you what, Boland in England with a Duke's ball as he arrives at the crease here and bowls to Bairstow on 4. All past the outside edge again. How often have we said it when this man's in operation? Just hitting that line and length, landing it in a shoebox. A bit of natural variation is all he needs. Bairstow, ever so lucky.
Oh, it's beautiful bowling. I mentioned that Bairstow is batting on off stump, so Boland has just moved his line 1 stump wide. The seam, presentation of the seam position, outstanding. There's just a hint of movement. That's virtually the same ball that he bowled to Root. The only difference was that this passed the outside edge rather than just feathering it.
So he goes again to Bairstow, bowling here. Bairstow, bottom hand off the bat. Got to be big on him there. It looks like on the replay that might have been the wobble seam variation as well. Maybe just a little bit coming down, or is that just natural variation?
I think that one was just beautifully presented, actually. Right. But he can obviously do it both ways. And before he moved to change the plan to Root, had turned the ball around and was just jagging it back at Root. So he's a highly skilled bowler. He knows exactly what he's doing, and he combines all that versatility with relentless accuracy.
In to complete his over to Bairstow here, who drives down towards mid-off. Patrick Cummins is there. Another maiden for Scott Boland. 2 for 17 off 16. His analysis on the Independent Reserve scoreboard. Choose Independent Reserve for crypto. England remain 4 for 162.
It's time to put the out of office on for the big holiday sale. Now on at Tyre Power. Your #1 destination on Google Maps for safety, Tyre Power is ready to help your family get ready for your driving holiday. So before you hit the road, make Tyre Power your first stop and find out why Tyre Power is Australia's best. During the big holiday sale on now, buy 3 get 1 free on selected Kumho passenger and SUV tyres. Each Tyre Power is 100% independent and locally owned. Find your Aussie local at tyrepower.com.au.
Adam Collins with you, Mike Atherton's to my left, and Bharat Sundaresan joins me to my right for Anaconda. Play more, pay less with Anaconda's 10% price beat guarantee. It's going to be Nathan Lyon to go again. Bharat, how are you seeing this?
Firstly, I felt bad for Joe Root. That's the longest he's taken to leave the field after getting out, almost at minus Labuschagne speed. It's been an interesting afternoon for Pat Cummins. We'll come to that.
Lines round the wicket, Randwick end to Stokes, who pushes out towards cover. There's no run to Cameron Green.
This is his first test, really, isn't it, as captain, where we're on day 5. It's a test match to be won. England are showing some sort of resistance. There's been rain.
Line with a job to do. Pulls again to Stokes, a bit shorter, flatter, defended. Deflecting off Labuschagne at silly point, no run.
And I think he's been pretty proactive. He set a very subcontinent field for Joe Root briefly when Boland was bowling before going back to 2 slips. He's used Nathan Lyon really well.
He passes umpire Tucker, bowls here, flat again. Stokes is equal to it, pushing out to cover.
He's been a lot more involved with Nathan Lyon. In the early part of the series, it almost felt like he'd skipped that subject in school and he would just leave Steve Smith to manage him. But he's been very much involved.
There's a mid-off, or long-off out rather, on the offside. Stokes leaving alone the flatter ball again. Will be the temptation for Stokes to have to try and place that and continue to score, but he's showing stiff resistance so far.
He is. I think ideally Nathan Lyon would want that slightly straighter, but he just allowed Stokes to leave it outside the off stump.
Good contest here. Lyon to Stokes, floats this up. Stokes plays with soft hands out towards Mitchell Stark at backward point. Lyon in the 4th innings of test matches has 88 wickets at 30, a strike rate of 62. That is a lot better than what it was at the start of his career. He's been far more effective at bowling teams out late, including England at Edgbaston in 2019 when he took 6 for 49 to finish that test. Lyon here finishing an over to Stokes. He's defending it to silly point, not far away from that front pad. A probing over, a probing maiden from Nathan Lyon. It stays at 4 for 162 on the independent reserve scoreboard. Choose independent reserve for crypto.
If there's one thing you can be certain of these days, it's that at Chemist Warehouse, your health is our top priority, which is why we're now a COVID-19 vaccination provider. To check your eligibility, scan the QR code in-store or visit our website, chemistwarehouse.com.au/COVID. Then simply book your appointment and we'll see you in store on the day of your vaccination. Chemist Warehouse, always here for you.
Got Boland to continue, and why not? The Australian bowlers for Bundaberg, Ginger Beer. He's operating from the Paddington end to Johnny Bairstow, who made 100 in the first innings. He's the big wicket here, along with Stokes. Boland to the crease, 2 slips. It's on middle stump, pushed out towards mid-on, no run.
You were talking about Scott Boland. He would make an outstanding overseas player for some county. When you think of his attributes, he's strong, will bowl his overs, which any county club needs these days, given the length of season in English county cricket. Very accurate, highly skilled, and would have some very nice pitches to bowl on. So, yeah, sign him up.
Can you imagine Scott Boland bowling at Lords, for example, in the championship? Here's Boland here to Bairstow. It's on off stump, defended out to cover, no run. Not just Lords, but a number of pitches, but that stands out to me. A number of green tops we've seen there in the last few years. He might be bowling himself into a county contract.
Well, he could be. I mean, as I said, English counties are always on the lookout for a likely option. Somebody like Joe Worrell, he's been quite successful in English county cricket, and I think has gone as a domestic player now. Is he going
He has.
to Warwickshire?
No, he's gone to Surrey.
Sorry, that's right.
And the interesting part of that is that he has signalled an intention to qualify for England. He's got a British passport. Boland delivers here, and defending with one hand off the bat is Bairstow. Again, a bit of extra bounce from Boland. So Worrell was playing how else for Shield last year? He'd be
29-30.
29-30, South Australian. It's his last year of Shield cricket. Then he's going to be a full-time UK domestic player. I tell you what, Ireland was sniffing around as well. He's got an Irish passport too, access to an Irish passport. But he thinks that if given enough time, he might be able to force his way into England calculations after 3 years of qualification. Of course, he did play for Australia in one-day cricket back in 2016. Very skillful bowler. As is Boland, delivering here to Bairstow. He defends with a nice straight blade.
Saw Worrell knock over my lad in quick time last summer. Somewhere, second innings at Cheltenham, I think.
Yeah.
Looks a likely bowler. It's good.
He's got the whole populist angle as well.
Yeah, he comes curving in on a long run-up, doesn't he?
Kind of the last of his kind, really. Maybe let us know who are the best angled run-up types from yesteryear. 0433 98 11 16 for Tyre Power, your trusted tyre experts.
Bob Willis used to zigzag. He didn't hang. He used to zigzag in and out.
Of course, there was Merv Hughes coming from the 45-degree angle. Here is Boland, well outside the off stump this time. Attempt to Bairstow, shoulders, arms. Because that was the way, well, probably when you started your career, Mike, most bowlers would come in on the angle. It only was perhaps in the last 20 years when it became all about moving in straight lines.
Yeah, probably Glenn McGrath is the reason for that. You know, one of the greatest fast bowlers or fast medium bowlers of all time, and everything very much in straight lines from the run up to the position of the back foot on the crease, and then just running through, really keeping it very, very simple.
Boland's got a couple of slips and the giant green in the gully. Bowls to Bairstow, or edging into the cordon, through the cordon, albeit on the bounce between Warner and Smith rather. And Warner puts in a big dive to cut it off at the last. Athletic, committed fielding from Australia's opener. Keeps it to a couple. Bairstow moves along to 6. They'll check that just to make sure he didn't touch the rope. We'll wait to see before we go to the ad note. That's definitely going to be ruled as having been kept inside the playing arena, which means at the end of the over on the independent reserve scoreboard, choose independent reserve for crypto, England, to 4 for 164.
It's never been more important to buy Australian than right now. Our local manufacturers and growers produce world-class products known for their quality, safety and reliability, all while generating local jobs, supporting our communities and helping Australian families now and into the future. So look for the trusted green and gold kangaroo logo. Buy Australian now. Visit australianmade.com.au.
Change of bowler for Australia is going to be Marnus Labuschagne. Change of bowler for Bundaberg Ginger Beer. Labuschagne has 12 test wickets at 44, but can be a nuisance.
With the ball, you hasten to add.
The timeless tweet, as they say. We've got a few messages in here on the text line about angled run-ups. Graham Dilley, Malcolm Marshall, then Merv, says Chris from Mitcham. Farney de Villiers, says Braden Altona, all prompted by Dan Worrell, of course, a South Australian who is moving to play county cricket. We were speculating that Scott Boland might do likewise. Mike Atherton is with me, likewise Bharat Sundaresan.
Dan Worrell, just on his action, it had a lot to do with the tree in his backyard, and that's why he developed the angular run-up.
Really?
Athas, while we have you and Marnus will take his own time to start bowling. Just thinking about it this morning, my first live cricketing memory, I don't know how much you'll enjoy this, was you and Alex Stewart at the same end at the Wankhede in 1993. He did not look happy with you, is what I remember.
No, we were both ended up at the same end, sadly, and he had to go. I made sure my bat was in just before he got there.
11 minutes until 2. Labuschagne's first ball around the wicket to Stokes. 2 catching men in, and he's well forward defending to where there's not a man. There's no silly point. It's just a slip and a short leg.
Nice to have a leg spinner you can just throw the ball to before tee, bowl into a bit of rubbish outside the left-hander's off stump. Having had Lyons spin the ball away from him, Stokes has just got to switch on to the threat from Labuschagne into the rubbish outside his off stump with that short leg waiting.
There's a deep point out. Labuschagne full toss, and Stokes whacks it out towards deep mid-wicket, gives it the full treatment, gets himself a 4. Well, that's helpful. Stokes 44, England 4 for 168. I suppose the only risk there is there are 2 men out for a miscue into the onside, but Stokes bisected them out towards the Brawongle stand.
The way he hit it, which was with ferocious power, is just the danger of him aggravating that side injury.
Yeah, I suppose so. Time will tell whether he plays next week. Labuschagne to Stokes on 44. He pushes it into the onside, no run.
Knowing Marnus, he'll claim that was exactly his plan. He wanted Stokes to go for that shot and aggravate his injury.
Of course, Labuschagne has one big Ashes wicket back from Manchester in 2019. Delivers here to Stokes, lands that. Stokes clipping into the onside. There's a single down to long on. He's 45, 4 for 169, 2 balls left in the over.
Hasn't landed it right yet. There's just enough rough outside the left-hander's off stump, but he's over pitch so far.
I suppose this was the argument for using Mitch Webster here or anywhere for that matter, but I suppose a leg
Who's he going
spinner.
to play instead of?
Well, I mean, if you were going to rest a fast bowler, if you were going to rest Mitchell Starc on the basis that they want him ready for the pink ball, I'm not saying that there's any reason to do that, but if they wanted to get a test at this Webster before Pakistan, he might have been quite useful at this stage with there being more footmarks outside the leg stump for the right-hander. Also a right-hander in Bairstow here, who drives down towards long off. Again, he hasn't quite landed at Labuschagne. Bairstow 7, 4 for 170 England.
But I think it's a question of what Pat Cummins is comfortable with. Like, he himself is just getting used to using spinners as a captain. So suddenly you throw 2 into the mix.
Sure, yeah. Imperfect science. Last ball of Labuschagne's first over. That's Stokes wide of the crease, and Stokes comes forward to defend. That's the best delivery of his first over. 6 runs coming from it. On the independent reserve scoreboard, choose independent reserve for Crypto. Bairstow 7, Stokes 45, England 4 for 170. Cheers, Mike. See you later on. We continue through. Mike Atherton has made way in the expert chair for Anaconda. Play more, pay less with Anaconda's 10% price beat guarantee. There'll be a change of bowling for Australia because Scott Boland is currently off the field. Just seeing how they're going to manage this. Nathan Lyon is changing ends to bowl from our end, the broadcast or Paddington end for the first time in the innings. Lyon has 1 for 18 so far. Mentioned before you joined us that his record has really improved in the 4th innings of Test matches in the last 5 years or so.
It all started with that Adelaide Test against India, if you remember, 2014 emotional Test match, right after the fortunate passing of Philip Hughes, and that was the first time he took 5 wickets in the 4th innings, if you remember.
Yeah, he made it 7.
Oh yes.
So Lyon will get 1 more over in before tea. There's 7 or so minutes until that break. The break for Bundaberg Ginger Beer. And Lyon's got a short leg and a slip. Bowling at Bairstow. Goes back and turns him behind the square leg umpire, but there's no single there because David Warner races around to stop it. Australia's fielders for PGG Wrightson, Turf Durascape.
Come on, guys.
There's 1 out on the leg side at deep backward square. Line, all the lights on. Bowls here. Bairstow goes back. That's turned sharply. Well played in the end, right beneath his eyes.
Nathan Lyon's got that wicket of David Malan, but I'm sure he has somewhere deep inside his head memories of last summer where he couldn't take a wicket.
Yes, it was a tough final day for Nathan Lyon. He's bowling here to Bairstow. He goes back and pushes out towards mid-wicket. I suppose when looking at that data set and Lyon's numbers improving in the 4th innings, that does disregard the fact that he wasn't able to bowl out India at Sydney or Brisbane. They've got a fair bit of heavy lifting to do here. 2 and a bit hours to go in this Test match. Lyon delivers and Bairstow comes forward again in defence, plays it well.
Of course, I think a little unfortunate in those 2 Test matches. Tim Payne dropping Rishabh Pant twice in the first session, then the mis-stumping at the Gabba.
Yeah, not a great day for the captain, Payne, here at Sydney to finish. Lyon bowls to Bairstow, who again goes back and rides the bounce down towards short leg where Marcus Harris does the fielding.
In a way, we're back to that same situation. 2 injured guys trying to save a Test match. Nathan Lyon trying to pull the opposition out.
Yeah, certainly some similarities to this time last year. Lyon bowls to Bairstow, has to come forward, finds the inside part of the bat. Around the corner, they get a single. Had there been a leg gully in play, I suspect they would have been in action. End of the over, 65 gone, 4 for 171 England with Stokes 45. Bairstow 8 on the independent reserve scoreboard. Choose independent reserve for Crypto. They're looking for a big moment before tea for Bendix Brakes. Put your foot down with confidence, Bendix Brakes. Adam Collins and Bharat Sundaresan between now and the interval. They might get 2 more in actually. If it's a quick one here from Labuschagne, it should give Lyon enough time to go around once more. Getting lots of texts in about the angled approach to the crease. Imran Khan, of course. Malcolm Marshall. Van Holder. West Indies mid-70s, of course. Message here saying his run from the members' end at the G began at the half-forward flank. Love that intersection between footy and cricket, especially where the G's concerned. Here's Labuschagne, second over. Full toss to Bairstow, who pats it down to long off. An easy single. He's 9-4 for 172. So you get to really threaten the footmarks. A bit too full.
Yeah, he needs to land at least one so that he gets that confidence. Does work a lot on his bowling, Manas. He's better than a part-timer. Backs himself a lot as well.
Well, certainly his first test tour to the UAE in 2018, he bowled loads of overs. Delivers here to Stokes, it's full, and he takes one down the ground as well. Just walking singles. Usman Khawaja does the fielding. Stokes up to 46, 4 for 173.
One man I've seen not rate him at all in the nets is Steve Smith. When Manas comes on, he just wants to take him out of the attack. He enjoys it if everybody else is enjoying it as well. Ozzy Khawaja is actually another one.
There's a slip and a short leg waiting for a snaffle. Visit snaffle.com.au. The only two catching men close to the wicket, and predictably, we've got another delay at the round weekend. There've been so many of them. I can't quite fathom how the message hasn't got through to the stewarding staff at the back there that just don't let people walk down that particular aisle in the middle of an over. I know it's too late to put a side screen over it or a sheet over it, but anyway, it's been happening for 5 days. Enough's enough. Labuschagne. In a Bairstow again, close to the stumps. Ball's here, that's better. Bairstow had to come forward and defend, and deflecting it down to Marcus Harris at short leg.
He's one of those bowlers as well, right? He bowls full tosses, long hops, but when he nails it, you need to be ready for it. You cannot drop your guard down.
Labuschagne just being held against. There's long off, deep point, deep mid-wicket in front of the O'Reilly stand. Labuschagne bowls and Bairstow nearly yorks there. He squeezes it out to mid-wicket. So they're not quite sure what Labuschagne's doing at the moment. They come to the Q end of the bat, spit out into the onside. A different length every ball. Bairstow. Dirt all over his short sleeve jumper. Labuschagne here, full toss. He's able to be milked down the ground again. Bairstow into double figures, 4 for 174. The third time this over, they've had a single out towards the Churchill stand.
We should get another over, I'm pretty sure. It's still 3:38 local time. One ball to go in this over.
Change in field, no slip, but a leg slip. Steve Smith's there. Labuschagne around the wicket to Stokes, wide of the crease, and Stokes comes forward and defends a full delivery. The end of Labuschagne's over, and probably his spell as well. 65 gone in England's second innings. Their target, in theory, was 388. Their job's to try and bat out the rest of today to draw the test match. They're 4 for 174. Stokes 46, Bairstow on 10 on the independent reserve scoreboard. Choose independent reserve for crypto. Nathan Lyon will get one more over before the tea break.
I think it's the first time I've seen Manas Labuschagne bowl a spell without an appeal. He didn't give himself an opportunity to throw in one of his loud appeals.
Well, I mentioned that first tour he went on in 2018. It was a bit of a sign of things to come in the UAE. He was often at short leg or bowling, and he was an energizer bunny. We didn't know too much about him other than watching a little bit of him in domestic cricket, but certainly not the same scrutiny as Test cricket. Lyon away from us towards Bairstow. Bowls here. Bairstow goes back in defence. Lyon won't mind that. It ends up at mid-wicket. Dot ball.
Yeah, he's come out with the same positive energy, Johnny Bairstow, in this innings. He spoke a lot about how you can show positivity through your footwork, just the way you utilize the crease, and he's been good so far.
Lyon again, bowls to Bairstow, goes back once more and pushes to mid-wicket for the same result. The leading run scorer today is Zach Crawley, Victoria Police, for non-urgent police assistance call 131444. Crawley was the third wicket to fall in the first session for 77, a splendid 77. Brought undone by Cameron Green's Yorker. Lyon to Bairstow, forward in defence out to cover this time. Got a message in from James saying at least at the MCG, they rope off one end in the MCC when the bowler's coming through. That makes a lot of sense. Next year we will lobby for it.
We will. Start early.
3 balls until tea. Lyon to Bairstow, back again. Sharp turn, but Bairstow plays it right beneath his eyes. That's good batting.
Wonder how many experts have started talking about the lack of silly point call. Always happens with Nathan Lyon on day 5.
Lyon again. Bowls to Bairstow, and the result's exactly the same. Able to go back and ride the bounce out to backward point. We were talking about the piece, the beautiful piece you published this morning about Johnny Bairstow and almost being in a meditative state in the nets this week.
Very much so, yeah. I mean, he has the same energy, but every time he strikes the ball, it turns around, his eyes are closed, like soaking in that moment, contemplating.
Last ball of the session, Lion bowls and Bairstow back in defence. Really nicely played, Johnny Bairstow. He'll go to tee on 10. Stokes 46. There'll be 35 overs in the final session. This match with England at 4 for 174. They only lost one wicket in that truncated middle stanza. That was Joe Root, caught by Carey from the bowling of Boland once again for 24. At that stage, they were 4 for 156. This pair have added 18 subsequently. The fall of wickets for Budget Truck Rental. No matter the job, they've got a truck. Barat, 6 wickets, final session. A track that isn't overly responsive at this stage, certainly not deteriorating to the point where we're going to see it misbehave too much. England should be able to get to the finish line.
They should. I mean, with 6 wickets left in hand, forget about backing yourself to save this test. It would say a lot about this English team if they fail to do this. I mean, Australia will want a couple of early wickets, get into Mark Wood as early as possible. Joss Butler, we saw him early in the morning try to bat. He was holding that bat very gingerly, so you never know, but I think something dramatic needs to happen for Australia to win from here.
Yes, they'll need the game to turn on its head. They need to break into England's lower order, but we've seen them do it before, and Scott Boland, who's leading the bowling for Australia so far with 2 for 19 off 17, can get on a roll and end it in a hurry. SEN Test Cricket by Host Plus, that's a plus. We'll have Jared Waitley and Chris Rogers picking it up through the course of the tea break. 1 session to go at the Sydney Cricket Ground. England, 4 for 174.
The Ashes on SEN for Henley Everyday Advantage. We don't hide our prices. And Host Plus, the industry super fund for all Australians.
If there's one thing you can be certain of these days, it's that at Chemist Warehouse, your health is our top priority, which is why we're now a COVID-19 vaccination provider. To check your eligibility, scan the QR code in store or visit our website, chemistwarehouse.com.au/COVID. Then simply book your appointment and we'll see you in store on the day of your vaccination. Chemist Warehouse, always here for you.
Sometimes needing new tyres can catch us by surprise. That's why Tyre Power gives you the power of Zip Pay and Zip Money. It means you can get what you need now, get back on the road safely, and pay for it later, taking advantage of the interest-free periods. So if you need new tyres or mechanical repairs, don't wait till it gets worse. Get them now with Zip Pay or Zip Money at Tyre Power. No fuss, no wait, no worries. Terms and conditions apply. So visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner-operator.
The thrill of winning a Group 1 in horse racing is a feeling like no other, and it all starts in the bloodlines. Aquis Farm is Queensland's largest stallion facility. The Aquis team brings decades of racing experience and is dedicated to breeding champions.
To race and breed with Aquis Farm, contact JD or PK from the Aquis sales team or visit aquisfarm.com.
On the SEN app, check out the SENW channel with stars of women's sport at home and abroad. Daisy Pierce, Katie Brown, Stephanie Brance. Plus, on the SENW channel,
We cover AFLW, Rugby League, W League, netball, cricket, and track the female stars of horse racing and more.
for the latest news, interviews, and catch-up podcasts with the biggest names in women's sport, jump on the SENW channel. Download the SEN app now.
Make it a cool summer with Australian Made. Look for genuine Aussie products sporting the green and gold Australian Made kangaroo logo. There's more than 20,000 to choose from. Whether you're chasing the dog under a sprinkler, sizzling snags on a durable backyard barbecue, or applying the finest quality sunscreen, buying Australian Made is cool because it supports Aussie makers, farmers, retailers, and creates Aussie jobs. Visit australianmade.com.au/summer to find genuine Aussie products. Buy Australian Made. Make it a cool summer.
Gold Coast MG recognises the importance importance of supporting Special Forces veterans transitioning back to civilian life. They fought for us, so now let's fight for them. Purchase a raffle ticket from $10 and you could win a brand new MG HS Essence. All proceeds help Wandering Warriors support returning veterans and their families through education, employment, respite and mentoring programs. Hurry, raffle drawn January 24. For tickets, visit mggoldcoast.com.au. Gold Coast MG and Wandering Warriors, saluting their sacrifice.
Join Caroline Wilson and Corey Perkin for their weekly podcast, Don't Shoot the Messenger, filled with their insights into the latest news and a little sport, good local tips, and plenty of recommendations on what they're reading, watching, and whipping up in the kitchen.
His days are well and truly numbered, and I'm sure, Corey, a lot more is going to come out about what actually went on behind the scenes of the Alistair Clarkson handover to
create a chance or two, and then because of that, the Aussie fast bowlers have been able to target a batter who's not set with the second new ball. So, I mean, that's Nathan Lyon's job right now, is to try and find a way to create a chance, and the bowler down the other end, whether it be Cam Green, I reckon, might do a little bit more work. But then if they can just open an end, at least one end, for that second new ball and make it really, really uncomfortable for a new batter, that's their best chance.
Joss Buttler has a damaged hand. We know, we just don't know the extent of it, but it feels like it's going to be quite severe when it's revealed, and not a lot behind him. So he's the next man in, and then you're looking at the Taylors, would look like a hitter rather than a defender. Broad and Anderson could potentially bat time. So all the possibilities of a day 5, bar the successful run chaser, are with us, and you can't ask for much more than that.
Well, imagine Stuart Broad to come in with 10 overs to go. Like, what's he doing? It's not really in his nature these days to try and sit there and defend. So Australia will know that actually England have a long tail, and they just have to find a way to create chances.
35 overs to go in the test. So today, England, Hamid Court Carey bowled Boland for 9. Milan bowled Lyon for 4. Crawley, LBW, Green for 77. And in that session, Root Court Carey bowled Boland for 24. The bowling figures: Boland 17 overs, 8 maidens, 2 for 19. Nathan Lyon 1 for 19. Cam Green 1 for 33. Mitch Starc none for 44 from his 11 overs. Pat Cummins 13 overs, 3 maidens, none for 47. And Marnus Labuschagne, the 2 overs there at the end of that session, none for 9. So we set ourselves for the big final session. Australia 3-0.
The Ashes on SEN for Henley Everyday Advantage. We don't hide our prices. And Host Plus, the industry super fund for all Australians.
Every day we wake up and look at ourselves in the mirror. How do you see yourself? PTP see you as confident, standing tall. PTP's new posture range makes the perfect posture accessible to anyone. Designed by world-leading professional practitioners, the range features posture-reminding t-shirts, braces and belts, a core seat and V-backpack, all working to straighten your thoughts around posture. PTP, smarter movement, better performance. Find the posture range online at ptpfit.com.
Stay in pole position this week with radio's #1 motorsport show, The Driver's Seat with Matt McKeldin and Stephen Johnson.
Stadium Super Trucks boss Nathan Kaiser reveals the real Barry Ryan.
People misunderstand Barry. You know, we see him for the guy that is on TV and does that sort of stuff, but he's an incredible bloke.
Last time when we spoke to Barry Ryan on this show, I think he was watching maths. You think that's a joke? That's not a joke. That's dead serious. Yeah, that was dead serious.
Download the Driver's Seat app to listen now.
Tyre Power's big holiday sale gives you the power to get away with a great deal on Kumho tyres. Buy 3 and get 1 free on Kumho tyres, including a huge range of premium quality passenger car and SUV tyres. What a way to get away when you buy 3 and get 1 free on a big range of Kumho tyres. Only this January and only at Tyre Power. Conditions apply. Tyre Power's big holiday sale is now on. Visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner-operator.
It was a huge year of Season 6 of the Sounding Board podcast with Hutchie and Damo, discussing the biggest media and sports issues of each week and their own unique take on journalism.
Once upon a time, you'd write your own stories. Then it morphed into a digital age where you would quote from other stories. Now, actually, the journalists themselves are becoming the yarns. Journos are now being repackaged for digital clickbait. Do you think most successful coaches in our era have had significant media chips on their shoulder? I would say yes.
It gets them eventually, yeah. Even the ones that come in quite open-minded with it, it gets them too.
Shooty had a media chip on his shoulder at times.
Yeah.
Moldhouse had a media.
Damien Hardwick hates media.
Damien
hates media.
Chris Scott from time to time's got a media chip on the shoulder.
He plays it differently.
Most elite successful coaches have had that challenge.
The Sounding Board podcast with Craig Hutchison and Damien Barrett. Catch up on Season 6 via the SEN app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks to Drinkwise. If you're choosing to drink, choose to Drinkwise.
The thrill of winning a Group 1 in horse racing is a feeling like no other, and it all starts in the bloodlines. Aquis Farm is Queensland's largest stallion facility.
Aquis Farm is Gold Coast based and dedicated to building the quality and standard of racing in Queensland.
The Aquis team brings decades of racing experience and is dedicated to breeding champions.
To race and breed with Aquis Farm, contact JD or PK from the Aquis sales team or visit aquisfarm.com.
Look, if you want a lush green backyard, there's one easy way to get it. Install Rainbird. Don't believe me? Look at the MCG's outfield. Check out the Sydney Cricket Ground's Jade Field of Envy, Perth's Optus Stadium, Spring Green year-round, your neighbour Derek's backyard. Now that's Emerald Turf. All of these places installed Rainbird, so talk to your landscaper about their irrigation and sprinkler systems. Rainbird, the intelligent use of water. Learn more at rainbird.com.
If there's one thing you can be certain of these days, it's that at Chemist Warehouse, your health is our top priority, which is why we're now a COVID-19 vaccination provider. To check your eligibility, scan the QR code in-store or visit our website, chemistwarehouse.com.au/COVID. Then simply book your appointment and we'll see you in store on the day of your vaccination. Chemist Warehouse, always here for you.
The Ashes on SEN for Henley Everyday Advantage. We don't hide our prices. And Host Plus, the industry super fund for all Australians. The third session for Suncorp, building a more resilient Queensland. That's the Suncorp spirit.
The Sydney Test goes the distance. It brings us to the final session of day 5. There's 35 overs remaining. Australia requires 6 wickets to win. England trying to bat out the draw. To those joining us for the first time today on our relays right across the SEN network, England 4 for 174. Australia took 3 wickets prior to lunch. There was an hour of play lost after that interval. 1 wicket picked out in a shortened 90-minute session. That was Joe Root. And now we find ourselves with 35 overs to go. 13 of those will be with this old ball. And then Australia will have 22 overs with the new ball to see if they can finish the task. Standing in their way, Ben Stokes on 46 and Johnny Bairstow on 10. Gerard Whateley and Damien Flemings in the experts chair for Anaconda. Play more, pay less with Anaconda's 10% price beat guarantee. You need a bowlologist at this moment in time. Hello to you, Flem.
Yeah, hello, Gerard. Hello, listeners. Wickets, we need them. I mean, England have had a very good day. I mean, it started with Crawley counter-attacking, hitting the ball hard, but the last wicket or so has been tough, hasn't it, Root? Although dismissed again by Boland, did waste some time. Stokes has been superb. And so is Bairstow. Bairstow's going to play against type. It was a thrilling 100 in the first innings, and now he's going to try and be there at the end at stumps.
Scott Boland opens up after tees. Around the wicket, he's bowling to Stokes, who leaves outside the off stump.
And Boland's been the best bowler by a mile, hasn't he? So how will they construct these 35 overs, Gerard? And, you know, I don't mind Boland. You know, I'd want pace at the other end. I wouldn't mind even if it was Cummins for 2 to 3 overs. And then if they can get 1 or 2, quickly get the spinners and get that new ball in your hand as quickly as possible.
Boland sets in. Delivers to Stokes, who's beaten on a dying ball outside the off stump. It bounces on the way through to Carey.
Because Lyon has looked half a threat to Stokes, but he hasn't to Bairstow, to the right-hander. This ball that he's got, the one that goes straight on and he's up to 10 kilometres quicker, it seems to worry the left-handers more than the right-handers.
So again, a bit of a disruption up above the sight screen. From the Randwick end, Scott Boland 2 for 19 to his name. He's in and bowling to Stokes, who's walking and then leaving.
And the Bolo bowling machine just cranks up straight away. No wasted deliveries. His line is so tight, isn't it? It's very rarely any straighter than off stump. And it goes to about a 7th stump line, and it's good to short of a length every ball.
Yeah. So he has 13 wickets for the series. He's behind only Lyon and Stark, who each have 15. His average is 8.46. Every time he falls behind Charles Marriott, he takes a wicket and jumps back in front of him. It's magnificent. These things tickle me, and he's just superb on that front. So the ghosts of Test cricket past are now 13 wickets at that average of 8.46. A bit of a manipulation of the field. So 2 slips a gully. There's a catching cover, a square leg, a mid-wicket who moves a mite closer, and the mid-on and the mid-off. Boland around the wicket to Stokes, who leaves outside the off stump.
Yeah, there's a bit of Stuart Clark, the New South Wales, quick about Scott Boland. You know, Clark, he was probably picked at around the same age, slightly younger, and bowled beautifully in South Africa. Was probably the bowler of the 06-07 series. And what you get is fast bowlers with 10 years first-class experience. And they're both very accurate. They bowl over the top. They're bouncy stock ball. Really good temperament.
Second slip comes a little closer. Boland to Stokes. It threatened to keep low. He keeps it out of the off stump.
So, yeah, who bowls at the other end? I mean, or is it just Cam Green?
So Cummins didn't bowl in the 90 minutes between lunch and tea. So I would read that as setting himself for the big assault at the end. Could you spend a couple of overs now before you go to the new ball?
Maybe Cam Green, I reckon, for 2 or 3.
Boland delivers. Stokes turns to leg, but he won't get a single and square. Another maiden from Scott Boland. 4 for 174, the mate scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers. All the lessons of cricket are in its history, Adam Collins. And we've been plotting the course of last year's Day 5, where Australia couldn't get through India, against this year's Day 5 as the task presents again. What do you got for Robot Building Supplies? Robot's got it.
There are some similarities. India were 5 for 280 at the final break last year after 96 overs. They finished at 5 for 334 with Bahari and Ashwin batting for 4 and 3 hours respectively to get India to the draw.
Hey, Colo, just a quick one to work on. If the Australians had declared when Usman got his 100 last night, how many extra overs would we have?
This might become increasingly relevant as our day unfolds. It is going to be Pat Cummins. So rested himself, set himself for the final session of the Test match, and this is part of the beauty of having your number 1 strike man as your captain.
Well, I said at the time, his biggest asset is he has himself as a fast bowler.
Cummins starts the spell over the wicket. Bairstow in behind defending, hands straight off the bats.
So we can probably go 2 or 3 here. I mean, if you get a wicket, you just keep on, and then you're warmed up, ready for the new ball.
So in their final session last year, 36 overs, no wickets. This year, 35 overs, and Australia's got to take 6. So it is, by every measure, quite the task that still awaits. He looks pretty grubby, Johnny Bairstow. Dirt smeared everywhere, but he's brave to the last, and he turns away from his pads down to fine leg. Boland will field a single taken. Bairstow's 11, 4 for 175.
Cummins just working into it a little bit here. But he doesn't want to waste too many deliveries. That's the reason he's got the ball right now. It is to be fast and fiery. And with him and Boland, they're the most accurate of the Australians. So it should be an uncomfortable time here for the 2 English batsmen.
There'll be 2 in the deep on the leg side with Stokes on strike, the backward square to the rope as well as the fine leg. Young lass on the fence has got the right idea. Patrick, give us a hat trick and a photo.
Yep.
That'd all go to order.
We're all comfortable with that.
Fielders in the V at cover and mid-wickets. Stokes is on 46. Cummins around the wicket to him, and Stokes that leapt at him. He's able to get it down off the gloves and the handle to the turf in front.
There's been less of that today, hasn't there? Steep bounce. We've had less gloves hit, less ribs tickled. At day 5, well, it's a wearing wicket. That's natural deterioration. What I like with Cummins as opposed to Boland, who doesn't bowl a lot of bounces, with Cummins' extra pace, runs aren't a factor here. Stokes has showed he's keen to play the pull shot. I'd have a look upstairs.
Cummins in and at him. Stokes is in behind it. Everything in behind it as he defends.
And two good cricketers to bat through here for England, isn't it? Like Stokes has been unbelievable. Yeah, hurting himself when he was bowling, giving 100% in a plan that I wasn't comfortable with. Injures himself there, but has fought so hard with the bat. Stayed out there in the field, even though he was in pain. Yeah, real leadership.
Cummins leaves the top of his mark. He's in and bowling. Stokes defends. Connor, you've got Flem's answer.
Yeah, they would have got 2 overs back, Flem. They would have burnt the rest of that over. And, of course, the 2 overs they batted on for. So they would have had 38 in his final session, I suppose.
It's only a couple more.
This countdown of overs is going to be a big part of it. The countdown to the new ball.
As a cricket fan, Jared, I didn't like that declaration. I like clean ones.
As soon as...
if we'd gone when Usman had got the 100. Carey not having to go out there and bat.
Last ball of Cummins over, he delivers. Stokes off his pads, turns it through the gap between mid-wicket and mid-on. He sends Lyon on a chase into the deep. It'll be futile. Stokes with his 50. As he leans on the on drive. Here's the main source of resistance for England. 50 runs to his name. That's not the job today. It's occupation. But it's the 26th time that he's been to 50 in his career with 10 centuries to run alongside. 4 for 179, the mate scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
The thrill of winning a Group 1 in horse racing is a feeling like no other, and it all starts in the bloodlines. Aquis Farm is Queensland's largest stallion facility.
Aquis Farm is Gold Coast based and dedicated to building the quality and standard of racing in Queensland.
The Aquis team brings decades of racing experience and is dedicated to breeding champions.
To race and breed with Aquis Farm, contact JD or PK from the Aquis sales team or visit aquisfarm.com.
Stokes 50 from 107 balls this year in Test cricket for Host Plus. That's a plus. 8 4s and a mammoth 6 in the work that he's done so far. Boland to Bairstow, start of the new over, defended from the crease to the offside. Chris Rogers joins Damien Fleming in the experts chair for Anaconda. Play more, pay less with Anaconda's 10% price beat guarantee. Buck, welcome back.
Hey, Flem.
Bucky.
Shocking figures for a bowler.
So how do you get him to bowl a tighter line and length? I know you're the coach and it's been tough work. It's been phenomenal, Bucky. I mean, you've seen it for the last couple of years, but wow.
He's driving away. Boland to Bairstow. Back foot punches to point, no run.
It's well grooved, isn't it? Very tight line. It's good to short length bowling.
Everything just looks like it's going in the right direction, doesn't it? It doesn't look like much can go wrong. As long as he gets his wrist behind the ball, everything's going straight at off stump. And then just subtle variations with his skills to be able to get the ball to move a little bit each way.
Boland muscles in, bowls Bairstow on the back foot defending, and again rips the hand straight off. I don't think there's much doubt that the thumb's broken. We'll learn about it in the aftermath.
We're getting a bit of reverse swing, but I think there was a shot from Stokes that hit the boundary, and just after the rain, it must have got moisture on both sides. So, that's something that you'd be hoping you could count on day 5 with the old ball.
Boland sets in and delivers. Bairstow turns it away off his pads. He flicked it fine, and it's going to be fielded by Stark. Getting around to his right, they'll be able to scamper back for a couple. Bairstow's 13, 4 for 181. Just getting the announcement from the McGrath Foundation that more than $5 million has been raised during this pink test, making it the pinkest test ever. More than 250,000 virtual pink seats were sold during the match. pinktest.com.au. Boland de Bairstow keeps out a lower ball.
It's been a great initiative, isn't it? The virtual seats, well played to the McGrath Foundation, but the Australian public too. You know, it's been crazy times, and the Australians are still prepared to give. Great to see.
So the Barmy Army fill the air at the SCG, chanting for their troops to defy Australia over the next couple of hours. Last ball of the 70th over. Boland will deliver it to Bairstow, who plays with a full face of the bat to the offside. No run. 4 for 181, the maid scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
From AFL to NRL, A-League to horse racing. For all the big moments, expert commentary and the latest breaking news, when it happens in sport, SEN has you covered. Find your channel on the SEN app today.
Just a hose with holes in it. No way, Jose. This is Poke Drip Ease. Deceptively clever irrigation that drips drops precisely, so there's less water wasted. And it's made right here in Australia.
SEN Test Cricket for Host Plus, the industry super fund for all Australians. 4 for 181. 32 overs left in the test. 10 overs before the new ball. Pat Cummins is in operation from the Paddington end. He'll deliver the first ball of the over to Ben Stokes, who's defending to the offside.
Well played. Gee, that was a nice on drive, wasn't it? Last over of Cummins. You know, if you're not in a good position, if you're falling across the crease, you can't hit the ball like that. That's back-to-back great knocks from Stokes.
66 in the first innings, 50 in this second. He knew he would play a role in the series at some point. He was rusty at the start. He is injured now. So who's to say whether he's there in Hobart or not? It would seem unlikely. Cummins bowls and Stokes defends to the leg. Marnus and Labuschagne fields close in, no run.
I see you picked your side. I saw social media for the more that to keep Stark going in the last test just because of the World Test Championship.
Yeah, so I'm out of the dead rubber scenarios now. I want to win every test match, but they did it for Rick's team, but not mine. But I did have Slash Richardson if Stark physically or mentally is not right.
Cummins bowls and Stokes firmly to mid-off. Stark around to his right. He fields no run.
But I don't know if they do it, Bucky, but you know, I hope they talk to the player because it's also a goal to play every test match, you know, and be potentially part of a whitewash as well. But it's certainly been his least effective test match, hasn't it, Mitchell Stark?
Yeah, I just wonder if the 5 tests, the days of a bowler bowling 5 tests, giving everything 100% in every match is getting harder and harder.
Cummins strays down the left side. Stokes lifts it up into the air. He whacks it wide of Boland at fine leg. And away to the boundary. He took the short ball on. He sized up the field. And he safely reaches the rope. A Foxtel 4K for Foxtel for the love of cricket. Stokes 54. It's 4 for 185.
I reckon he had his heart in his mouth for a second there, but he instinctively got one of those ones on the hip. He just picked it up, like a backhand topspin. And just luckily enough for him that Scotty Boland was quite square. I'm sure he can't have been picking it to hit it that fine.
Cummins on the follow-up. Stokes plays to mid-on. No run.
Yeah, just think with the bounce that's hurting. They haven't. I know it's a day 5 pitch, which is harder too, but they just haven't been high enough to Stokes, the bounces. He's been able just to swivel and go with the line.
Stark tried one that got up just because he had to dig it in so short. It sat up and he smacked it over mid-wicket. So it just means pitch is a bit slow to really, really dig it in, perhaps.
Last ball of the Cummins over. He digs it in. Stokes stayed out of it, and it doesn't reach Carey. It bounces well ahead of the keeper. 4 for 184 on the Mate Scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
At Kennards Hire, we only hire people who've taken the Ken Oath. By taking it, each team member goes above and beyond to help any citizen in need. The Ken Oath, it's a commitment that means more than the sanctity of marriage. The Ken Oath means you'll never miss smoko or beer o'clock. So if you want someone who can tackle whatever, whenever, wherever, talk to someone who's taken the Ken Oath.
This final session for Suncorp, that's the Suncorp Spirits. Scotty Boland, 2 for 21. From 19 overs. Mesmerising stuff. He starts the new over to Bairstow, who defends from the line of the off stump. 19 overs, 9 maidens, 2 for 21.
You're a little bit curious that Nathan Lyon's not bowling at this stage, with 9 overs to go before the second ball.
I think maybe one more each from the quicks, and he'll be used purely just to get through the overs quickly, which is an indictment, really. I think he's looked half a chance to Stokes, but he hasn't looked like getting Bairstow out, the right-hander.
Bit of a change coming with back pads. 2 slips of gully, short leg. Lyon comes to mid-wicket. Labuschane's at cover. And Cummins at mid-off and Khawaja at mid-on. Bairstow's on 13. Boland over the wicket to him, and Bairstow, the toe of the bat, keeps it out.
Where you get to the win of the test, Glenn, where it's like the fielders take a step in every over, don't they? And then by the end, they're all just throw a blanket over them.
But back to Mitchell Starc as well. Yeah, just to say, this has been a really condensed Ashes series, but for me, he was probably man of the series when the series was alive after 3 test matches. So he's done an excellent job.
The fact that it's pink ball in Hobart, where he's the best pink ball bowler yet. Bairstow's on strike and he defends Boland. That doesn't change his physical readiness.
Yeah, well, it's hard to know. I mean, we don't know exactly how he's feeling, what he's going through.
Well, I think we'll know with the new ball, Bucky. This next spell he's got.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they want to play Jai Richardson again.
Boland sets in and he delivers. Bairstow's in behind it, defending.
Especially in what you think is going to be a pretty flat wicket. And just to see, you know, is it him, Richardson, who has the real skills with reverse swing that might be needed in different times, over the next 6 months, 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the beauty. We've won the Ashes and or retained the Ashes, but, you know, Boland and Richardson, big ticks. Our depth is strong in the fast bowling ranks.
Bairstow faces up to Boland. It got through him onto the pads. It sounded like there was a bit of bat in that as well, and Rob Tucker shakes it away.
Just a bit high, that, I think.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that one.
No serious thought, just a little glance here and there around the field, but there'll be tighter moments than that, you imagine, before all this is done. To use the DRS for TAC, drive safely these holidays.
The iPad in the end.
Cummins with the signal of height as he half posed the question and answered at the same time. Boland in, Bairstow, swish and a miss. He was drawn to it on the drive. He's ever so lucky to survive. Another Boland maiden, 4 for 185, and the Mate Scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
The thrill of winning a Group 1 in horse racing is a feeling like no other, and it all starts in the bloodlines. Aquis Farm is Queensland's largest stallion facility.
Aquas Farm is Gold Coast based and dedicated to building the quality and standard of racing in Queensland.
The Aquas team brings decades of racing experience and is dedicated to breeding champions.
To race and breed with Aquas Farm, contact JD or PK from the Aquas sales team or visit aquasfarm.com.
SEN Test cricket for Henley, everyday advantage. We don't hide our prices, and so it is that Nathan Lyon is going to take it up. So a little luck tester for Pat Cummins to steady himself for the new ball, and now see if the spinner can do the business with 8 overs to go before the new Kookaburra becomes available.
Yes, certainly so. I've just felt like he's working towards the similar plan to Stokes what he did in the first innings, and hanging the ball outside off stump and that quicker ball going on. But I think he needs a bit of a different plan to Bairstow, or runs aren't a problem. Just to throw the odd one up, attacking the stumps, because Stokes has been happy to sweep him a lot. And who cares if it goes for 4, but a top edge might be caught.
So the change of bowler for Bundaberg Gingerbeer. Nathan Lyon from the Paddington end. 15 overs, 6 maidens, 1 for 19. Equal leading wicket taker in the series. Now would be a good time. Stokes is on 54. He has the strike. Lyon is around the wicket to him, and Stokes is leaning forward, defending to Labuschagne and silly mid-off. So a slip and a silly mid-off around the bats.
The thing is, because he's got Stokes now a couple of times in WW, it's almost like it's so obvious that's his plan. And if you're good enough as a batter, you should not fall for that plan, twice, let alone 3 times.
Stark is limbering up at long off. Lyon's got the extra man now at bat pad. He's in and bowling to Stokes, who plays straight down to Stark at long off, and he's able to amble through for a run. Stokes 55. It's 4 for 186.
Now, I'd love to know the reasoning why mid-off is back. Because you think Nathan Lyon would probably prefer to be bowling to Stokes. And if he goes over the top, then who cares? I wonder why he has mid-off back.
Yes, they're giving him the release valve. As Flem mentioned, he just doesn't feel like he's troubled Bairstow at all. Maybe he'll make light of that. Over the
there is reverse swing here.
Yep.
We're seeing it.
Fingers down the seam, a little bit short. Past the outside edge. Stark studies that ball at the top of his mark, trying to conjure the moment. Strides in. Bowls down the leg side. Bairstow went with it, but he didn't make any contacts.
Be challenging here, Jared. It just, the fact that he got that ball to reverse the first ball, if he gets that on line with his pace, it's going to be very difficult to keep out. And as a batter, you're thinking that first ball that swung away from you, okay, well, outside edge is in play, but knowing that he might be able to bring the ball back in.
None for 44 in his 12th over, Mitch Stark. He delivers, Bairstow lets it go.
All you're trying to do here, I think, if you're Bairstow, is just play as late as possible. Try and play as close to your body and watch it as hard as you can. See if you can pick up which way it's going out of the hand and then react to that.
So ever watchful, maybe never more so than in this phase. Bairstow's seen 52 balls for his 14. He's again a strong ally for Stokes, who's 55 from 118. He has a bit of a wander around, change of angle. So something different for Bairstow to look at. Stark is around the wicket to him, and Bairstow fending the ball just wide of Harris at short leg, who's there for precisely that. Gets it to ground and gets off strike. Bairstow 15, 4 for 188.
It's one of those balls that bowled James Vince from around the wicket.
Got it right up on the gloves.
That was the last series, wasn't it? Obviously in Australia. I can't remember where that was.
Was that the one at the Wacker?
Yeah.
It was the ball of the summer. It was after we'd had that funny old delay where the patch of the pitch was wet and they had the hair dryers and the leaf blowers out so that play could get back underway. We've got a stump score at Christchurch. New Zealand sent in 1 for 349. Wouldn't you know it, Devon Conway's 99 not out overnight. Tom Latham 186. The man out, Will Young, who made 54, including a 7. So Australia's changed tack a little bit. A leg slip and a slip, a gully, bat pads, a catching cover, mid-off, mid-on, deep square and fine leg back on the rope. Stark over the wicket, went for the Yorker, clipped away by Stokes, out to the deep square. Nisa does the fielding, a run taken. Let's check in with Colo, shall we?
Yeah, there's a question in here from Nick and Sale asking the last time that Australia took 10 wickets on the final day at Sydney. There's a few that come close but don't quite meet that entire criteria. You've got to go back to 2008 when Australia bowled at India for 210 on the final day, taking all 10 wickets, including 3 in 5 balls from Michael Clarke in the penultimate over of the Test match.
Yeah, so you don't give up too early at the SCG was the lesson of that. It was a day where it seemed like it wasn't going to happen, and then it all happened in a hurry at the end. Last ball of Stark's over. Johnny Bairstow to see it around the wicket. Bairstow in behind. Safe as houses. 4 for 189. Make scoreboard. Australia's most satisfied NBN customers with Hutto coming in.
Sometimes needing new tyres can catch us by surprise. That's why Tyre Power gives you the power of Zip Pay and Zip Money. It means you can get what you need now, get back on the road safely, and pay for it later, taking advantage of the interest-free periods. So if you need new tyres or mechanical repairs, don't wait till it gets worse. Get them now with Zip Pay or Zip Money at Tyre Power. No fuss, no wait, no worries. Terms and conditions apply. So visit tyrepower.com.au or call 13 21 91 for your local owner-operator.
SEN Test Cricket for Host Plus. That's a plus. Can Australia get a wicket before the second new ball? Or if it starts to reverse even more, will they take it immediately if they do have success? Lyon is going to continue. He's going to bowl his 17th over to Ben Stokes, shaping as the hero here for England yet again. Lyon bowls and he plays back after thinking about getting forward to defend. Played it on the onside. Afternoon to you, Chris Rogers.
Hello, lads.
Come on, lads. Lots of talk around from the Australians surrounding Ben Stokes, trying to keep spirits high. And wouldn't you know it, someone is distracting the batsman behind the side string. Try again, he's ready. Lyon, close to the umpire, then delivers from wide. Threw it up outside the off stump, and no interest at all from Ben Stokes.
Still amazes me the conversations that the batters and the fielders have.
Lyon again, he comes down the pitch, he lofts it, he didn't control it perfectly, but there was a big area of vacant territory over long off. It just about pulled up before it got to the hole, but in the end it went into the fence for four. A Foxtel 4K, four for Foxtel and the love of cricket. Another boundary for Ben Stokes, who took it to Nathan Lyon. He goes to 60.
Interesting choice of shot.
Yes.
He's brought mid-off in with he took an easy single. Mid-off was halfway to the boundary.
He's bowling again, and Stokes is empty to slip, and he's caught. Safe hands of Steve Smith. The agony is etched all over the face of Ben Stokes. After hitting Nathan Lyon for four, it hit the bat, and it couldn't have gone into safer hands than Steve Smith. England lose a wicket before the second new ball is due, and again the result hangs in the balance.
Well, that's an excellent piece of bowling. Stokes, he's been trying to make sure he doesn't get out LBW, and Lyon was good enough to look like he bowled that faster, quicker one, but actually it gripped and it bounced. Because Stokes was looking to defend, in the end all he did was just give a bit of slips practice to Steve Smith. That's an excellent piece of bowling. Ben Stokes didn't pick it.
Fifth wicket down, 5 for 193. Stokes gallant but dismissed, on his way for 60. Similar to his first innings of 66, he falls short of 100, and more importantly, he's opened the door for Australia now as England are 5 down and very vulnerable.
I just think he was so worried about that ball skidding on that he was making sure he had his bat almost ready there for it, and it wasn't the one that he thought it was. It dropped and it turned and it bounced as well.
Yes, he was trying to pull that bat away, wasn't he, at the last moment, but it was too late.
It really did spin and bite, didn't it? The way it came off the pitch.
Snaffled by Steve Smith. One subscription, one wallet, hundreds of products. All right, it's game on now. If it wasn't before, Joss Buttler comes to the wicket to join Johnny Bairstow.
And that one could be so crucial because Mitch Stark has got the ball reverse swinging from the other end. I think a new batter against that is going to be exceptionally hard.
Buttler on a pair.
Fielders around the bat everywhere too, Hutto. There's slip leg, slip, short leg and silly mid off.
Lyon bowls and right back on his stumps. Buttler defends, yes. Leg slip, slip. Close in, catches on either side of the wicket. He is surrounded here, Josh Buttler. Australia tries to amp up the pressure. 5.1 overs until the second new ball. Line bowls, Butler defends and keeps him out. A wicket taking over. The wicket of Ben Stokes, no less, out for 60. It's 5 for 193 on the mate scoreboard. Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
Since 1976, Cambridge Stud has been New Zealand's iconic thoroughbred nursery. Made famous by legendary stallions Sir Tristram and Zabeel, our current stallion roster includes champion European 3-year-old Al Manzoor, Zababeel's Group 1 winning son Embellish, and Hello Yumzane, winner of the Group 1 Diamond Jubilee Stakes at Royal Ascot. Cambridge Stud, a new era, a proud tradition. Visit cambridgestud.co.nz.
96 runs, 6 times dismissed in this series so far, Josh Butler. Of course, he was a thorn in the side for Australia for a long time in the second innings in Adelaide, making 26 before stepping on his stumps.
Just watching that dismissal on the ball before, and the one that Stokes hit over the top was at 85 kilometres an hour.
Stark, new over. Bairstow on the angle down the leg side, plays him straight to the man, Arness, a deep square leg, who throws and hits the stumps at the bowler's end, can you believe? And the crowd like that, and so does Marnus. 5 for 194.
And I reckon Stokes probably thought to himself, okay, I've got away with that one, back on it now, defend hard. He's not going to toss one up again. And actually, he bowled almost exactly the same delivery. I think it was 86 kilometres an hour. So just tricked him, really. Tricked Stokes.
Yeah, it was a great bit of analysis from yourself. Buck, you were talking before. He got to that stage where Stokes was ready for the only way that he thought he was going to get him out. But Nathan Lyon kept thinking. And he got the wicket. Experts for Anaconda, play more, pay less, with Anaconda's 10% price beat guarantee. Mitchell Stark, wicketless so far, he wants to contribute here. Third slip is in very close as he bowls full and he's driving off the open face with good authority. Butler out to the boundary. It won't quite be 4 on the slide from Cam Green, who gets there and hurls it back in. 3 runs to set Butler on his way.
That was nicely played. I think with reverse swing, at times you just go with it. It's almost like playing big spin. You kind of go with the way that the ball is going. And there, Stark tried to swing it away. It was a bit too full, and Butler just leant on it and hit it square of the wicket in the offside.
.4 overs to the second new ball. Butler. Bairstow waits and plays late on that end of that gap again at point, but just with soft hands this time. It's just a single. 5 for 198 now on the mate scoreboard. Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
The worst thing you want to do here is just really push the ball. Almost hitting back past the bowler becomes quite difficult with reverse swing.
Stark's pulled up a little sore after that. The ankle? Or?
Yeah, the ankle of his right foot. So sometimes just gets caught in that hole. Yeah,
it's been an issue, hasn't it, for the whole Test match, really, for the paceman. Scott Boland was bowling from well behind there at one stage to avoid such issues after tumbling over himself. Stark. It's a full ball just outside the off stump. He plays it up to mid-off with no real power. So Labuschagne, as I said, in close to the third slip with the helmet on.
Just when it's reverse swing, it doesn't tend to bounce as much. It kind of skids on. Hence why if you hit squarer and you hit later, even if you edge it, you think it's a good chance for the bat bounce in front of the slips. If you push at it, that's when the ball is going to carry to the slips.
3 slips in the gully, but there's a big gap at point. We've seen some runs go there already. They're happy to give that up. Stark pushing in again. Down the leg side, flicked in the air, but with a flourish by Butler. Down to fine leg. Lyon works his way around. There's no real interest in pushing for a second run, so close to 200 now. 5 for 199. Bairstow 17 has strike. Butler is 4. So if there's no wicket before the second new ball from here, they just take it immediately, do you think?
You'd think so. Flem thought that Stark will bowl just a couple of overs and that'll be, but I don't know, the way that he's getting the ball to move, I'd be reluctant to take him off.
He's going around the wicket now, and Bairstow playing as late as he possibly can under his eyes, just pushing on the offside to see out the over. 5 for 199 for Host Plus, the industry super fund for all Australians.
Gold Coast MG recognises the importance of supporting Special Forces veterans transitioning back to civilian life. They fought for us, so now let's fight for them. Purchase a raffle ticket from $10 and you could win a brand new MG HS Essence. All proceeds help Wandering Warriors support returning veterans and their families through education, employment, respite and mentoring programs. Hurry, raffle drawn January 24. For tickets, visit mggoldcoast.com.au. Gold Coast MG and Wandering Warriors, saluting their sacrifice.
The big moments, the best moments might still be to come for Bendix, the best known breaks. 5 for 199. 4 more overs until the second new ball is due, but Nathan Lyon may have a say in that. He's in and bowling to Butler, tosses it up, but it drops short enough for Butler just to lean on in defence.
Come on, boys, come on, boys.
Circled by close infieldsmen. Couple of deep breaths. Josh Butler, and he's ready now. Line bowls over the wicket. Outside the off stump by a substantial margin, but Butler happy to walk across and play it defensively nonetheless. Injury and all. Butler is back on the stumps. It turned into him. It was high. It was taken by Smith. They asked the question for, well, if it's not caught, how about LB? It's neither.
I just think it was a fraction high. He got quite a long way away, Butler, so he might have even been outside off stump as well.
Yeah, he was outside off stump. I think the ball turned and appreciable amount there. Lyon again, pushes it right up, closer that time to where the front foot was going forward, so easier to defend.
There's a nice little follow-through mark from Mitchell Stark, and that ball just landing in it. It didn't do much.
Steve Smith is making all sorts of hand signals to Pat Cummins. Lyon again, drops it short. He's back on the stumps and turning it to mid-wicket. He's not angling for a bowl, is he?
I think he is. I mean, Flem might be right here. That might have been the 2 overs for Stark. Then, okay, you're done. Get ready for the second new ball in 3 overs' time.
Nice leg.
He continues to limber up Steve Smith.
Surprised him and not
On the go.
Obashane.
Yeah. Line bowls around the wicket, and so a change of angle doesn't change Butler's approach. He presses forward in defence, and the over is completed. 5 for 199 on the Mate scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
It's time to put the out of office on for the big holiday sale. Now on at Tyre Power. Your #1 destination on Google Maps for safety. Tyre Power is ready to help your family get ready for your driving holiday. So before you hit the road, make Tyre Power your first stop and find out why Tyre Power is Australia's best. During the big holiday sale on now, buy 3 get 1 free on selected Kumo passenger and SUV tyres. Each Tyre Power is 100% independent and locally owned. Find your Aussie local at tyrepower.com.au.
Here's going to be a bowling change for Australia.